My name is Taylor, and I'm a teacher, and today I'm going to be talking to you about manding in the natural environment. Alright, so first we're going to talk about what manding is and what the program looks like. So like I said, the program being implemented is a manding session in the natural environment. It's really important because that's what helps the kids ask for what they want. Manding is asking for what you want. So your objective is to be able to contrive situations in the natural environment. So the student will produce 20 mands, so that can be prompted, unprompted, and spontaneous within a 30-minute manding session. And I will show you, that'll be measured by a performance checklist, which you will be able to have, and you can have with you as a guide to run a manding session. So now we're going to go over the concepts and techniques of a manding session. So first, what is manding? Manding is when someone asks for what they want. So it's a verbal response for requesting an item. And now I'm going to talk to you about prompted, unprompted, and spontaneous mands. So prompted mands is using a verbal, physical, or gestural prompt to help the learner mand for what they want. So an example would be you're building a block tower and you're controlling the blocks, but the student doesn't know how to ask for the blocks and they're just grabbing, and you can prompt them to say, "Oh, pass me the block." Unprompted is when the child can see the blocks, and then ask for it. So it's in their visual field. Spontaneous is when the child can't see anything. They can't see the blocks, they can't see the activity they want, and they ask for it. So a good example of a spontaneous mand would be an action. So if a child was to say, "spin me" or "tickle me," because you're not performing that action, it would be considered spontaneous. So the key to a manding session is contriving and controlling the situation. What that means is you have to arrange the situation or control the situation so that the learner will mand for the items. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we do some demonstrations. So manding is important because it can reduce inappropriate behaviors as well as teach the child how to communicate. So it increases the value of social interaction by allowing the learner to ask for what they want. So now we're going to go a little bit more into the components of it. So the target behavior we want to see the child performing is manding for an item. It can be anything. It can be an action. It can be an item. And they can be prompted, unprompted, spontaneous. And now I'm going to actually show you what that'll look like. So you're going to play the child. So the first thing is you want to start by giving freebies so that the child gets interested in whatever you're doing. So you can just be like, "Wow, look at the cool blocks I'm playing with. Here's a block. Let's build a tower." And then, because the child has no blocks and I have control over the blocks, you would have to say, "Can I have a block, please?" And that would be an appropriate mand, depending on the learner's verbal some children will also mand with pecks. So if they have a block peck, you may just hand you the peck.
What's a block peck or what's a peck?
It's like an image of the item that they are requesting. So if they said, I want a block please, or handed you the image of a block, you would hand them a block. While still controlling this so that they don't have access to it. And the goal is for them to like continue manning for the items. Every time they man, you want to give them a reinforcer. It can be edible, it can be verbal. In this case, we can just do verbal for role play reasons. So if you manned it, I would say, good job asking for a block. So now, I will provide you with the performance checklist, and then I want you to rehearse. So, the first thing in the performance checklist under the steps is to have a plan on how to contrive the situation. So, if you were doing a manning session, in this case, let's use the blocks as the example, you would have the blocks close to you so the learner can't have access to them. You would start by giving a couple freebies to me. Yeah, in this case, I'm going to be the learner. Yeah. And you could say, these blocks are cool, because you don't want to place demands. The demand could even be like, wow, look at my blocks. Come play with me. And then once the learner was interested in the items, they would either man for it by themselves, or if they didn't, you would prompt it. So say I didn't. Do you remember how you would prompt it?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you could say, you can say, can I have a block, please?
Okay. And then that, okay. So can I have a block, please?
Well, yeah, but no. You have to say. You can.
You're the student.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you literally say. You can.
You can say to you. I say it to you.
Yeah. Say it. Or, if they did have pecks, you could point to the peck. Or you could say, you can pass me the peck. And then you provide me the block, so at that point there would be no more freebies. Every block I wanted, I would have to man for. So I ran out of blocks, and then I would say, can I have a block, please? And you would provide me a block. And then you want to reinforce.
Good job for asking for the block.
Yeah. Every man they make, you want to reinforce. There's something called differential reinforcement. So if you had to prompt the man, you can give them just a little bit of reinforcement. And if they did it spontaneously without any help, you could like give a bigger reinforcement. It's a lot easier to do that with an edible, because if you did prompt them, you can only give them part of the edible, and then if you didn't have to, you can give them the full edible. So for the future, you will have the performance checklist with you. So you will be able to do self-rating and have each step. It's laid out pretty easy. So the first one's have a plan, and then have reinforcers ready. Begin playing with an item or activity. Try not to place the demand on the learner. Ensure they are motivated and interested. Start by giving freebies of the item, and then it's stop giving freebies. If they don't man for the item, verbally prompt, and then reinforce the man. Continue to control the item or activity so they man for it, and continue to reinforce the man every time they man. The more you reinforce, the more they're going to ask, because they're getting what they want. So I think it would be a good idea to continue to practice the Manning sessions so that you get it down pat and that you can answer yes to 80% of the self-rating. So to do that, we will set up a date for next week so we can continue to practice. And then if you need more practice, we will go from there. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Awesome. It was good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
No.